Hi there. In this tutorial we'll look at how to actually reverse a string in C#, and we'll take a look at a couple of algorithms to actually do that. To reverse a string in C#, we can actually use a string builder function, since string by its nature are immutable and it might be less efficient to actually use a traditional string. Instead, we can use a string builder, which upon modification doesn't create a new string, and it dynamically expands memory to adjust the modified string. So let's take a look at an example of how would we do that. So let's say I say static and I say a string and then I say reverse, right? And then we can pass in an input of type string. And in here, like the previous tutorial, the first thing we want to make sure is if the string is null, right? If it's null, we want to do check for null or empty, and let's pass in the input. If it's null, we just want to return the input because it's not going to return anything. But if it's not null, then what we want to do is let's create a string builder function, and you can do that by a string builder. It's a keyword, and then let's say we give it a name of reversed, and then it's new string builder, and then we want to keep it as of length of the whatever the input string is. Okay, and now basically what we'll do is we'll loop through it, through the for loop, in which we are checking for the whatever the last character. So we are basically reversing it, the looping in a reverse order. So while I is greater than or equals to 0, and then I say I minus minus, because we are going from the very last character to the very first character. And then for each character that we get, we can append that to our results. So basically we are saying, hey, whatever the string builder is, append the result. Okay, so what would be the result that we want to append is we actually want to append whatever the input of I is, because if I were to give you example here, right? Let's say we have Char, then we actually append R, A, H, and C. Yeah, in that order by doing this. So once we have the string builder, like we appended, again we need to convert that string builder to actually string. So we want to return reverse to, and then we can say string. And then that should be all. Now let's say if we want to try it, then what we can say is test case console dot write line, and then what was the function name that we gave? Reverse. We get reverse, and then we can pass in hello, or maybe let me pass Char. We just added. So if I were to run this, and you can see that the string actually got reversed. So this is one method to actually do it. There's another method we could actually use if we were to do the same function, and that would be actually, you will be using we'll convert the string to an array, and then we can actually use array the reverse function. So let's take a look at how to do that. So let's say static, and then we want the string, and then we say reverse another, and then I say string of input, right? And same like before, I will copy this because we don't want to this is basically validating to check to see if the string is empty or not. If it's empty, then it's going to return the input. So let's define a character array of type R, and then that would be whatever we get the input, and then we want to convert it to character array by using this built-in method. Okay, now after we get that, what we can do is array.reverse, and we can just pass in R. Like before, we need to convert the array to a string because we want to return as a string, right? So we'll do a new string, and then that would be passing R, right? Now let's say if we were to test this out, same way before, I'm gonna copy this test case, and then instead of reverse, I'm gonna do reverse another, right? And then maybe I'll clear this out, and let's say if I were to run this, and there you have it, character R, A, H, and C. So there are two different methods you can use to actually reverse the string. Now actually let's take on another challenge. Let's say you want to reverse each word of a sentence. How would you do that? Using the above learned method and also something that we learned in the past. So to do that, let's create a function called static, and then it passes a string, and then let's do reverse word, right? And then we will pass in the same input. Now to actually reverse a word in a sentence, we need to make sure that each word are separated by a space. And if they are separated by space, then we can actually use some sort of split to actually make an array of word first. And for each array of word, we can use this function right here, which we have already written. So the very first step, like before, we'll actually do the check to see if the string is empty or not. After we do that, then we'll create the string builder, and then let's say that is result, and it's new string builder. Now what I can do is I can create a string of arrays, and to do that, what we can do is whatever the input sentence is, let's split that by the space. Okay, now we have an array of word. Now for each array of word, what we can do is int I equals 0, and then we want to go up to I is less than that array of length, because we want to check for each word, and then we do I plus plus. Now what we can do is we can append whatever the result, kind of like what we did in the previous function, and in here we want to append the result of the reverse word. So to reverse the word, for what we'll use it reverse another that we have already written, and we'll pass in an array of I in this. Okay, so this works perfectly fine, but it doesn't account for the spaces. So if we were to add in a space, we have to do result append, and then we want to add in a space for each reverse word, right? But for the very last word, we don't want to add the space. So what we can do is, if we can make another condition here, and then what we'll do is we'll check if I is not equal to array that length -1. So basically, if it's not the last word, then we can add spaces, right? So we can add spaces. Okay, so after this, what I can do is return a result, whatever that result is, in the same way we did toString, because we need to convert it back to string. Okay. So now let's see, we want to test it out, and let's pass in a sentence here. So what I can do is console.writeLine, and then what was the function? We said reverse word. Okay, reverse word, and then let's say I pass in I love you. Okay. Now if I were to run this code, and there you have it. Since I is by itself, it didn't get reversed, but all of the other got reversed, right? And yeah, that's how you do actually reverse each word in a sentence. Hopefully this makes sense to you. More contents like this are coming in the future. Make sure to like this channel, subscribe to this channel, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.